how do I choose a low maintenance hair color that is DIY and flattering? Now, I don't know about the DIY bit, but you know, if you just want a solid color, it's probably not so hard. Now, firstly, if you have a color palette, one of the easiest ways is to start looking at the neutrals in your color palette, because these are going to give you possibilities for hair colors that will go with your coloring. So here is a cool one, and then here I have a warm one. And if I went and put any of these warmer colors on me, they would not look as good as the cooler ones do. They don't go with my skin, so they won't go with my hair. And these colors won't actually work with my palette. So if my palette is this, notice how these neutrals don't go. So I wouldn't want to get a hair color that is unrelated to my palette color. So if I am looking at hair color, looking at your palette is the first place to start. So if I was thinking about like some sort of, you know, coppery brown like this, I could hold this up and go, does it go with me? I'm not loving that on me. Now, if I went for a cooler brown, decided I wanted to go for a cooler brown, this cooler brown does go. Notice the difference between these two, how much this warmer does not go with me versus the cooler does. So that is one way of finding yourself a hair color that's flattering. Have a color analysis. One of the things I do in my color analysis, and I train all the consultants that I train in my color system, are trained how to help you find a flattering hair color, because it needs to go with your palette. If the hair color does not go with your palette, you don't want it. So when you go to the hairdresser, potentially take your palette with you. Make sure that if they're suggesting any color in particular, that your colors look good with it. Now, imagine my hairdresser suggested this. Do you see how this color does not work? I couldn't wear my pink clothes when I've got this camel on. So if my hair was that color, not the right color. So really you're looking for colors that go with your palette, but particularly look at your selection of neutrals and find colors that look good with your selection of neutrals rather than colors that are unrelated to your selection of neutrals. So it is really important to find colors that relate to your actual palette. Now, as far as DIY goes, I am not a hairdressing expert, but you know, solid colors are easier. So the more you go with something that is like your roots, whatever is growing out of your head at the moment, the more it will look good on you, because your roots are growing out in a color that's flattering, and probably lower maintenance because they're whatever your color roots are. Now, the other thing too is just go with your natural hair color. If you want low maintenance, your natural hair color is the easiest way. Just be aware, particularly if you are cool, that the sun bleaches hair. And what it does is it exposes the underlying pigments. And those underlying pigments tend to all be in the yellow-orange sort of category. So they are generally warmer. And this is why it's very hard to get warmer, cooler colors often with hair dye, and the sun is bleaching that. So if you've got a natural color but it's starting to go yellowy orange and you have a cool palette, using things like a purple shampoo or a blue shampoo can help to neutralize those warmer pigments that are coming through. But yes, your natural hair color, just don't dye it. But if you do want to dye it, go with something that is more similar to what is growing out of your head right now, but make sure that that color goes with your color palette, and you will find that you look good and it's flattering.